What's up guys? Today I'm making a video that is not really the kind of content I was planning on creating on this channel, but I figured it was important for people to have this information because I would have loved to have had it back in the day whenever I was suffering with eczema. I actually read an article not too long ago about a girl who was coming off corticosteroids and she was having terrible withdrawals. And I remember whenever I was ceasing use of corticosteroid creams to manage my eczema, like it was terrible. You definitely need some sort of topical emollient, something to put on your skin. And I was using a product called Dermaheal. Now, for some reason, the company Fusion Health, they stopped making it, but that cream it was dope. It was a lifesaver for me. And to be honest, I had been using it for the last 6-7 years. I'd actually been pretty eczema free for maybe the last 2-3 years. And just recently I've been having a little bit of an issue with my flanks. I was getting a little bit of, atopic dermatitis, maybe not full-blown eczema. And then obviously it just started to get worse. I used steroid cream. I actually used some of my mom's steroid cream because it was lying around. I used it to manage it, didn't make any changes in regards to my nutrition, my lifestyle. And I just used that. And obviously steroid cream, it works short term, but then I decided to stop using it. And now it's kind of going a little bit crazy. So I figured I needed a replacement. They just stopped making Dermaheal, so I figured I would just make my own. So that's why I decided to make this video today. I actually wasn't gonna film anything, but reading that article and then just realizing that there wasn't really anything else on the market more personally that I would use, I decided to film it, and that way you guys can make your own cream. So I'm gonna go through the ingredients that I put in the cream, just how I'm making it, the dosages, everything that I use. I'm gonna provide links in the comments below. Really important, guys, this video, I don't wanna get into the nitty gritty in regards to the conventional medicine approach to management of eczema, the alternative medicine approach management to eczema. I don't want to get into, all the literature, all the scientific components in terms of eczema and how to manage it nutritionally. This video primarily is just about me making the cream that I use personally. You're more than welcome to use it if you can't find anything else. I highly recommend it. I've used stacks of creams and nothing really worked as well as Dermaheal. It's antipruritic, I think I said that correctly, which means it actually sort of cessates the itch. The biggest thing for me when it came to managing my eczema was just not scratching. I actually had a mantra that I would recite whenever I got itchy, and it was, I'm not a monkey. I know it sounds so stupid, but I just kept telling myself, I'm not a monkey, I'm not gonna scratch. I'm not a monkey, I'm not gonna scratch. And no matter how bad it got, I just always reminded myself not to scratch. Obviously that's an issue when you're sleeping, because sometimes you can scratch and you don't even realize. But I feel like the more you hardwire those neural pathways through the day and condition yourself not to scratch the moment you get that physical sensation, the more likely you are to not scratch when you get that sensation when you go to bed. So yeah, anyways, let's make some cream. I've never made this cream. I had to make creams in clinic whenever I was doing my lab work as a clinical nutritionist. We had to actually make creams. So it's been a while. I graduated nearly 3 years ago and I haven't made a cream since. So bear with me. I'm pretty sure there's better ways to make the cream. I'm just using the stuff that I have in the kitchen. This was all very run it by the seat of your pants kind of thing. It was just whatever I had, okay? So this video is totally on the fly. Could have been way better, but I just want to get it done because I need to use the cream ASAP. So let's have a look. Okay, this is the setup, guys. Nothing fancy. Just gonna be using my desk, as you can see, and pretty much just formulate it, create the concoction here, get it done. So this is a cream that I was using by Bioceuticals called Eczema Relief. That's awkward. But yeah, it was good. It got me by for a little bit, but it is no Dermaheal. It just doesn't have the same kapow as Dermaheal. So let's get into it, guys. I'm gonna go through the ingredients, just show the ingredients one by one, and I'm gonna go into the dosages, and then we're just gonna mix it all up together and create our own little supply of Dermaheal. First up, we got our vitamin E emulsifying base. Now, this serves as the foundation for our entire formulation. It's going to pull everything together and kind of determine the texture or the viscosity of the formulation so that it's actually a cream and you can apply it and it's not going to, go everywhere. Now, it's important to understand that this does contain vitamin E, and that's what gives it its therapeutic properties. Vitamin E is an antioxidant, so with eczema you're going to get chronic inflammation, and obviously that means a lot of oxidative stress, and that can become very damaging. So we want to make sure that we do not expose ourselves to excess oxidative stress, because that will negatively affect the biosynthesis of collagen and glycosaminoglycans in skin. It's also important to remember that the sweet almond oil contains vitamin A. Vitamin A is a retinoid, and retinoids are critical for skin health. So they stimulate epidermal turnover, they increase the rate of re-epithelialization, and helps to restore epithelial structure. Also, retinoids, they have a unique ability to reverse the inhibitory effects of anti-inflammatory steroids on wound healing. So over time, as we know, using corticosteroids compromises the integrity of the skin, impairs our skin's ability to heal, can be locally immunosuppressive. So retinoids, fantastic for offsetting that. In terms of how much we want to use for the formulation, if we're making 100 grams, as you can see here, then 35% or 35 grams of the formulation will consist of the vitamin E emulsifying base. Now, the product that I am using, it is a practitioner-only product. I purchased it off a website called Vitally here in Sydney. But what I'll do is I'll try to find a similar product on either Amazon or iHerb, which serves the same function, which is hypoallergenic, meaning it doesn't contain ingredients which may cause an adverse reaction or that you may react to, with similar ingredient profile, so vitamin E and sweet almond oil and so forth. And basically you can use that as a base if you cannot access or get a hold of the MediHerb product which I'm showing here today. Plenty of room. Okay. Now I need... Alright, so the next ingredient, which accounts for 30% of the formulation, is aloe vera. I'm sure most of you have heard of it before, but it is basically known as the healing plant, right? So can't get enough of that in our formulation. Now, pretty much there's a lot of studies that have been done on aloe vera gel, especially when it comes to burns and burn injuries. But long story short, it just helps accelerate the healing process of wounds. And it's also been demonstrated to have antifungal properties. So really important ingredient. Definitely want to make sure that we include aloe vera. Oh, forgot to add aloe vera, the hardest ingredient in this formulation to source, just because most products are laced with crap. I'm not a toxicologist, so I like to use an app called Chemical Maze. I plug the ingredient in, and basically if I get a red face, I'm not going to touch it. If I get an orange face, I'm just going to spot test it. So for your convenience, I went through iHerb and found a product which is similar to the one that I was using, with minimal additional ingredients. So highly recommend Chemical Maze and the specific product that I was using. The less ingredients generally in this formulation, the better. Don't know if you guys have noticed, but I am making an absolute mess of this. So I totally got the measurements wrong initially. Chose a jar which was just way too small, and yeah, scale switched off halfway through. Just every rookie mistake you could possibly make, I made it. So eventually what I had to do is I had to switch to a larger container, which is pretty much what you see me doing here. Okay, we're back online. Next we have echinacea. Now echinacea is an interesting one because it's the primary ingredient which
provides a potent anti-inflammatory effect. It does this by basically suppressing the release of what we call pro-inflammatory cytokines, specifically interleukin 6 and interleukin 8 in keratinocytes. So keratinocytes are the primary cell in the outer layer of the epidermis, the skin. So really good, potent anti-inflammatory. We definitely need that. And because it is an anti-inflammatory, it also has antipruritic properties, which basically means it helps to cessate that itch, which is a lifesaver when it comes to managing eczema. Anything you can do to cessate or reduce the sensation of itch is going to help you immensely. On top of all this, if that wasn't enough, it does help to restore the lipid epidermal barrier. And once again, that's critical for skin integrity, just to make sure that we don't expose ourselves to, topical infection from microbes. So echinacea, can't recommend it enough. There's about 10 mils in this 100 gram formulation, so you could see it's of importance. Okay, so propolis. This is the next ingredient in our formulation. It's been widely used in traditional medicine, a popular ingredient in dermatological products these days, and it's mainly due to its antiseptic properties. It's actually used in dermatology to treat staphylococcal, streptococcal, and fungal infections. Not only is propolis antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory, but it also increases wound healing, and most importantly for our formula, due to a flavonoid called chrysin, it actually has analgesic properties. Analgesic basically means that it reduces pain and sensitivity. So great addition, propolis. Same amount as golden seal, about 7.5 mils per 100 grams. Definitely recommend. Alright, so next up, after echinacea, we got a medicinal plant that's been traditionally used to treat urinary tract infections and upper respiratory tract infections because of its antimicrobial, antiseptic properties. Golden seal has also been known as Indian turmeric, and probably the most important reason why we want to include it in this formulation is it has astringent properties. Astringent basically means that it creates tightening or contraction of the surface tissue which it comes into contact with. This is primarily due to the phytochemical alkaloids which it contains, such as berberine, cannadine, and hydrostine. Now, obviously with the epidermis, we want to make sure that the gap junctions are maintaining their integrity, because we don't want to have a permeable, membrane that when we scratch it, our skin, we sort of allow pathogenic microbes to get to where they don't belong. So tightening up of those gap junctions, absolutely critical. And of course, once again, just to assist with overall wound healing. So that's golden seal. We're having about 7.5 mils per 100 grams, so 7.5% roughly. And yeah, so that's golden seal, really important ingredient in our little concoction here. Now, finally, that brings us to the essential oils. And the oils, man, I have to say, when I use this formula, the aroma is just amazing. It just opens up my airways, because we are using 3 highly aromatic oils. We're using tea tree oil, lemongrass, and eucalyptus oil. Now, if you've been paying attention so far, you definitely would have noticed that there is a strong emphasis on antimicrobial substances in this formulation. And that's primarily because of an association between the bacterium Staphylococcus aureus and atopic eczema. It's been indicated and recognized for years. And essential oils, due to their antimicrobial properties, have actually been considered as an alternative treatment for eczema, as well as things like acne, primarily because they promote the decolonization of pathogenic bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus, not to mention preventing topical fungal infections. So that's one of the primary reasons why we have these essential oils, is primarily due to their antiseptic, antimicrobial, antifungal properties. Absolutely critical, a key component in this formulation. Now, I also love having oils in this formulation because it helps to emolliate the sites where eczema is present. And what that does is, once again, it just further prevents microbial colonization and it prevents further damage to the epidermal layers. You can almost imagine when you're scratching dry skin, that's just the worst for eczema. There's that much more friction, it's just going to cause more damage. So the oil, the emollient, it helps act like a lubricant, and that is a key factor when it comes to protecting yourself from that positive feedback loop, which is eczema, where you scratch, you damage the skin, there's an inflammatory response. A part of that inflammatory response is an increase in itching, and it just continues to feed on itself. So critical that we have an emollient in this formulation, and the essential oils kill two birds with one stone. So that is all the ingredients in the formulation so far. As you can see, the oils, we do 2.5 mils of the lemongrass, 2.5 mils of the eucalyptus, and we're doing 5 mils of the tea tree oil. And there you go, guys. That's pretty much all the ingredients and the process of me, playing mad scientist, basically. First time for everything. So put everything together, and it was tough to stir, not gonna lie. I was stirring for ages, guys. But obviously I got there in the end. So what I really want to stress and emphasize to you guys is, before you put everything together and you make your formulation, I strongly advise that you take each individual ingredient just on the inside of one of your forearms, maybe in the inside of your elbow. Just get a little bit, dab it on each ingredient, and just make sure you're not going to have any adverse reactions to it. That's called a spot test or a patch test, because we don't want to make the formulation, put it on, not have a favorable response, and then not know what ingredient is causing issues. So spot test each and every single ingredient that I've listed. If there's an ingredient that is foul, omit it and just use the others. Alright, so I highly recommend that you do that. If you do so, I'm sure you can just smells good. So this is the aftermath. Instagram versus reality. Pretty feral. But yeah, wasn't that bad. That's the empty jar, as you can see. So yeah, it is a bit of a mess. And that's it, guys. We have our cream. Cream's done. So basically you guys can start using that as soon as you like, but word of warning, all right? Please understand, I'm not your dermatologist, I'm not your general practitioner, I'm not your caring physician, I'm just a clinical nutritionist who has had eczema, who is currently experiencing a bit of a flare-up, and this is the topical emollient of my choice. All right, so please make sure you consult with your physician first. Most likely they're going to recommend that you don't go cold turkey. You need to wean yourself off steroid cream.
I assume that they'll most likely recommend a lower dose and a lower concentration, a lower frequency, but basically you want to get some sort of structure where you start here and you slowly work your way down to lower dosages. That's what is usually done for pharmaceutical drugs. So I'm going to assume that that's most likely what your health professional is going to recommend. And this cream, I recommend that you use as an adjunctive therapy, something that you can use in combination with your steroid cream. All right, so please be safe. Don't do anything silly, don't do anything drastic. I mean, I personally did, but some people have eczema far more seriously than I did. I'll have to dig through the archives to kind of find some photos of myself whenever I had eczema. But as anyone with eczema knows, when you have eczema, you just want to crawl into a hole and die. Like, you don't want to be taking photos of your condition. I had no intentions of making videos like this in the future. I really wish I did. I implore you guys, if you're about to start, you know, like a transformative journey and basically go through the process of trying to cure yourself of eczema. I know that's a big word, a big statement, but I do believe that you can. I do believe that you can be eczema free. It's a lot of fucking work. It's much easier said than done. But if you're about to embark on that journey, I highly recommend take some photos, take some video footage of where you currently are, use that as fuel. And honestly, if someone else with eczema can watch you go through that process, it's going to be game changing. It's going to be life changing for them. So I implore you to do that. So those are my big tips. See your health professional, wean yourself off correctly, start documenting the process, because one day it might change somebody's life. All right. Thanks guys. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, you know what to do, like, and by all means, I'm looking to make more videos, go into more of a backstory about myself and eczema. But yes, the main purpose of this video was to show you guys how I made the cream, and I believe I did that. So I'm happy about that. Talk soon.